All right, so we will get started here. But yeah, basically today, sort of following up from last week. Last week was just like an overview of everything, but today we're going to break down more digital products because I know it's like a very, very common word at the minute, and a lot of people, yeah, and a lot of you guys are probably seeing it all the time, all over social media. But what actually are digital products? What's the difference between some of them? What are the best ones to sell? How to get started? So it's sort of going to be breaking down step by step, and then I've sort of got the next few sessions over the next few weeks planned out to sort of go from there, so you guys can actually start up and hopefully start making money from this. So digital products are what I sell. Last week I know we talked about sales and marketing, the high income skills, which have now allowed me to, sell digital products, make a full-time income from it. So yeah, we'll get started. So, oops. First off, we'll start, real basic. What actually is a digital product? So, you can probably guess from the word itself. A digital product is just something that can actually not be held physically in your hand. So, I guess in the industry, in anything in general, there's physical products and there's digital products. Digital products are essentially things that just cannot be held. They're digital. They're usually on your phone, on your laptop, and they are also delivered digitally. So rather than having to go through the post and things like that, it's delivered to your email address. It's delivered to your home screen, delivered digitally. So it's all pretty much online. It's all digital, and that's sort of where the space is going now. Digital products have been around for a long time, and most things that we actually use in day-to-day life are digital products. And a lot of us don't even realize that. So, I definitely didn't this time last year. So, so some common examples of what, the best way to paint a picture, I guess, for what a digital product is things like apps. So obviously you don't hold an app in your hand physically, it gets delivered digitally. You download it off the App Store, it goes to your home screen. So that's an example of a digital product. There's free ones there's ones you have to pay for. There's, video games. I know for, some of you here, you've probably played video games before. Obviously, there's the DVDs that you put into the console, but also you can buy them like digitally off the store, and it's just online. And that's like a digital download. That is an example of a digital product that a lot of you guys have probably bought. So you guys have probably actually gone out and bought digital products as well. Things like podcasts, digital product, recipes that you see online, rather than, if you're going to go on a trip overseas, or you're, away for Christmas or something, and you look up a recipe, that is an example of a digital product. Obviously, it's not a physical product because the recipe you're not holding in your hand. So obviously, it's sort of in the name, but a lot of people, hear the word digital product, and I guess a lot of people online try and make it this big confusing thing when, simply it's just stuff that you can't hold in your hand. There's two things really in this world: physical products, and obviously with technology and the way it's going, more and more digital products. So why sell digital products in 2025? So for a lot of you guys who are here, the first thing you've probably heard of, the first thing you came across when you think make money online, pretty much everyone over the last 5 or 10 years, is drop shipping. So all of you guys have probably heard of drop shipping. There's heaps of different ways to make money online. There's things like SMMA, day trading, all these different things. But I think by far the most common word is drop shipping because it is so big. It still is so big. And it changed a lot of regular people's lives 5 or 10 years ago. But I guess more recently, over the past year or two, there has been a shift. Obviously, as you guys know, that there's just more and more stuff is going online. I know even like when I was in trade school and stuff like that, most of the stuff is just, it's going online. It's all through computers and stuff like that. So with that, there has been a shift over the last year or two where people are sort of steering away from drop shipping. Now, that includes, beginners. And I think it's almost fair enough to say, obviously, you could try get into drop shipping with the right skills. But it is going to be very hard in 2025 to start selling physical products because of how saturated it is, and just how many people are doing it, and also how many people are steering away from physical products. And that's all I'm getting into now, where you know the people who made millions and millions of dollars drop shipping physical products have also steered away from it. So obviously, from a beginner standpoint, it's a lot easier, a lot more accessible, and a lot more possible to actually start making money from digital products. But when you also see some of the biggest drop shippers in the space start to steer away from from physical products and then go into digital products as well, that's a usually a pretty good indicator that stuff's dying down and there's a lot more potential in something like this, especially with like things like AI and stuff out there making your job a lot easier, and things like that. So, but why is this? So obviously, as I've mentioned a few times, there is physical products, there's digital products, and everything is going digital. And over the next 5 years, I know we mentioned last week, we sort of broke down the stats, in the e-learning space. So obviously learning stuff online, learning different things online, whether it's how to lose weight online, whether it's real estate online. In the e-learning space, right now it is an industry that is at 240 billion US dollars, which is, around 400 billion Australian dollars. By the year 2030, the space is projected to be at 840 billion US dollars. The e-learning space, so the digital online learning space in whatever like niche or whatever it is going to more than 5x. So that's $1 trillion over the next 5 years. So this is why more and more people are seeing the stats, seeing where the economy is going, and seeing, I guess, the pros versus the cons of selling digital products over physical products, which I'll get into soon. But especially with like drop shipping, it is an extremely saturated market. As I said, first thing you think of when you think of making money online is drop shipping. And every 16-year-old kid just wants to start drop shipping because it's what their favorite influencer does, and it's what made people really rich. 5 or 10 years ago, just regular people. But the economy we're shifting into now is, no one wants or needs, and that's a big word, needs shitty products from China. So a lot of the stuff that you drop ship is from like Alibaba. It's like $2, you sell it for $10, and that's your business. Now, with digital products, there's the more money you make is decided by the more value and the bigger the problem you can solve. So with that, I want to show you a few examples of two of the biggest guys in the space who were sort of in the physical product space and went into the drop shipping space, who were also in the drop shipping space and then have now shifted to digital products. But first off, I do just want to say, like, is it impossible to be successful with physical products, in 2025? 1,000% not. Definitely not. With the right skills, if you learn things like sales and marketing, you can be successful in anything. But for a complete beginner or just looking at like where the biggest guys in the space are going, it's pretty clear where the economy is going and where the most money will be over the next 5 years. It's almost going to be like drop shipping in 2016, but we're in 2025 with digital products. So I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen these two. Probably this guy, Iman Gadzi. Originally, when he was real young, when he was first starting, 16, 17 years old, he was doing e-commerce, which is pretty much drop shipping, and basic agency services. But versus now, over the last few years, he started up his own high ticket digital product, which is educating and also having a community. Now, this is Jordan Welsh, another guy who was just a normal kid. I think he was 17 years old when the fidget spinner craze came out and made millions and millions of dollars with fidget spinners, and drop shipping physical products. Versus now, over the last few years, he's shifted into selling digital products and services that are centered around e-commerce education. So e-learning, obviously teaching the skills that he learned to get to the position he's in his program, which is called Viral Vault. These are just two, off the top of my head, examples of people who, have made millions and millions of dollars with physical products, but have seen sort of where it's going. And I guess the potential as well with digital products and how much money there is to be made for anyone who really gets into the space. Now, why has there been a massive shift? Obviously, how can it just go from, drop shipping, selling physical products, e-commerce, all these different things, making, regular kids millions and millions of dollars, to now where it's sort of dying off. Obviously, I mentioned the saturation, but I want to sort of talk about the pros of digital versus physical products. And, the pros for digital products way outweigh the pros for physical products. So with digital products, as we mentioned when we sort of defined it, it's something that you can't hold in your hand. It's sold digitally, online, through your phone, through your laptop, whatever it may be. It's something you download. So there's no need for stock. So if you're thinking of Jordan Welsh when he was selling fidget spinners, obviously he would have to buy the craze as well. Like I reckon I had like 20 fidget spinners. So you could imagine like how many people were buying fidget spinners when it was going crazy, how much stock he would have had to buy in. Whereas with digital products, you either create it once, so you create an application once, you create a podcast once, you can create an ebook once, you can create all these different digital products once, or you can buy the rights to one once, and you can now sell that an infinite amount of times. So that's the first pro. You don't need any stock. You take the time to either create it, or if you're lazy like me, you can buy the rights to one and then sell it an infinite amount of times. Which also means if you don't have any stock, any physical stock, you don't need storage or a warehouse. So you don't need to pay for a warehouse. You don't need to pack your orders. It just completely eliminates that whole process. So it saves you money. It's a lot more time efficient. And with that, also cutting down the costs is, as I mentioned earlier, it is you download it digitally. So it is digitally delivered to the customer or the consumer, meaning you don't have to worry about shipping. You don't have to ship the orders, but also, you don't have to worry about orders not showing up, customers not happy, damaged orders, and then, all these excess fees that would just come off if you were to sell physical products. So, with that, obviously the customer doesn't have to wait 10 days for their product to arrive. And then sometimes, it might be a month or 2 months. The product's delivered immediately. So if you download an app, for example, the app is in on your phone within 60 seconds. So the customer fulfillment is perfect. Customers are happy. They receive the product immediately, and it's undamaged. And you only have to create it once. So with that, obviously, you're cutting down all these costs. The costs that you might have to pay for damaged items or delays or shipping or storage or stock. You create a digital product once and you can sell as many times as you want for as much as you want. You don't have to store it, you don't have to ship it. Customer receives their product immediately, meaning that the profit margins are pretty much 100% after you just get started. Compared to, if you see like a drop shipper on your For You page making like $100,000 a month, for example, he's actually only pocketing $20,000 a month. Whereas the digital products, the profit margins, are between 80 and 100%. So you're making, every bit of work you're doing, every bit of money that actually hits your pockets. So that's why the shift is there. It's obviously a lot more cost effective and it leads for happier customers. And it's just a lot easier, realistically, rather than having to deal with hundreds and thousands of orders. So with that, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with this term of low ticket digital products and high ticket digital products. So I'm sort of going to break this down for you guys. There's two different types of low ticket. There's two different types really of digital products out there. So the first one is low ticket digital products, and essentially what a low ticket digital product is just a digital product that doesn't cost a lot of money. So usually it's not something that solves a massive problem. It's something that's more wanted rather than needed. So things like recipes, things like apps, things like ebooks, guides, music, podcasts, things like that. They're more wants rather than needs. So the more you guys get your head around this space, you'll understand that the bigger of a problem that you can actually solve, the more money people will pay for the solution to that problem. So a low ticket digital product is essentially just it's usually a digital product under, say $500. So, as I mentioned, some common examples would be ebooks, guides, even some communities, and monthly subscriptions where you're paying to be in communities, applications, things like that. Now, what high ticket digital product is basically on the other end of that. So usually above $1,000, $2,000, they can even range up to $50,000 or $100,000 for, there's some real estate mentorships out there, that are really big money where people will pay a lot of money to, get that guidance and that mentoring, to get into the real estate market. So essentially a high ticket digital product is just the opposite of what a low ticket digital product. But how does it differ so much from like an ebook compared to, say, like a $50,000 real estate mentorship? So as I said before, that's obviously a big problem that you can solve, and you can make a lot more money from it. So if you were to sell like a low ticket product on how to make money, you're probably not going to make a lot of money from it. Whereas if you sell a $50,000 real estate course, mentorship, then you got to make a lot of money from that. So it's going to solve a bigger problem. But some other like really like probably the most common one um, is in the fitness industry. So, whether it's skinny guys gaining muscles, overweight guys losing weight, girls getting in shape, whatever it may be. Those are pretty big problems people face. A lot of people aren't happy with the body they're in. A lot of people are overweight, a lot of people are underweight, and a lot of people, I guess, don't have the motivation, don't have the training, don't have the diet, don't have a number of different things. So what they'll do is pay, I guess, 20 years ago, pay a personal trainer and you go in and see him every day. Versus now, a lot of it is done online. So, people can pay upwards of $5, 10, $15,000 for in the fitness industry. Another common one is relationships. So, things like marriage counseling, things like, how to pick up girls. That's actually a really big niche as well. So, as I said, people buy based off the problem it solves in their life. And the more money you'll make is basically off the needs rather than the wants. So that is essentially what a low ticket product is versus a high ticket product. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to bring it back here. I just want to see if you guys like have any questions or anything like that. So I'm gonna disable the chat. I just want to make sure you guys are sort of keeping up. I know the feedback for last week was I went a bit too quick. So you guys should be able to chat. If you guys have any questions, chuck it in the chat and I can unmute you. And yeah, any questions with any of that? Hopefully the chat's working. It should be working. Seems to be all good. If you how do I deal with depression? Not for not for today, brother. So we'll jump back in. We'll jump back in. So I'll share my screen again. Before we do jump back in, I know about halfway through last week, I asked if you guys could just chuck something on your story, just basically saying, obviously, I'm taking time out of my days to help you guys. I really want it, and I want to continue to do this every week. But obviously, I'm trying to raise awareness to, I guess, the possibility and the opportunity out there. So I would appreciate it if you guys take a photo of this, just tag me on your story so I can repost it on my story and try and get more people on here so we can really start to build. I want to build a strong community with all you guys, a stronger connection with you guys. So if you just take the time quickly to chuck this on your story so I can chuck it on my story, and yeah, we can start to get more people in this group chat that I've created as well, and yeah, we'll go from there. But essentially with that is what a low ticket product is versus a high ticket digital product. So the next thing really from there, like in regards to actually like getting started with this stuff, a lot of you guys message me and ask questions, where do I actually start? So obviously, that first 20, 25 minutes was really just breaking down what a digital product is, the different types of digital products, why the economy is actually shifting to, I guess, more of a digital economy. But now it's like, I want to get into more of like how to actually start, because that's the biggest thing holding a lot of you guys back. So the first thing you need to do, whether it's low ticket, whether it's high ticket, is to choose your niche. So in short, if you don't know what a niche is basically a specific type of category your digital product or service falls into. So basically that means, a specific or a focused area for a person with particular problems, wants, or needs. So, a few examples of, there's thousands of different niches out there, but basically a niche would be, obviously people who want to travel the world. They want to go and travel Europe, for example. But obviously, that can be a scary thing. If you're wanting to solo travel, that's probably a good one. Obviously, solo traveling for the first time, being in a different country, being on the other side of the world, that can be scary, but people are going to do that. So, you can sell travel guides for things like that to help people with their traveling experience. There's you can be in the sports niche. So it's basically just a particular category on what your digital product is going to be around. So whether it's helping travelers, having like having like a mission statement, I guess you could say. So whether it's like helping travelers or, sports, there's so many different ones. Now, the ones we want to stay in, the ones I can best recommend to you guys, the ones we want to focus on are the three ones in particular. So there's health, wealth, and relationships. So they are the best three. They are the three I'd stick to. Obviously, the travel can be good, sports can be good, music can be good, outdoors, entertainment. They're all good niches, but they're more in the wants. So I really want you guys to start to focus on the needs rather than the wants, because that's where you're going to be able to provide the most value, but also help people come to a solution. Meaning that, these three areas, whether it's your health, whether it's your diet, whether it's your body appearance, whether it's anything, whether it's smoking or anything like that, people prioritize their health, their wealth. If you're broke, if you're not making the money you want, then that's a big problem. Or a relationship, whether it's with your mum, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, with your grandma. Usually, if there's something going wrong in someone's life, like something really wrong that people you know, aren't too happy with, it'll be in one of these three areas. You're either not in the shape you want, you're either not making the money you want, or there's something going on in a relationship in your life. So the first thing you guys need to do is to pick your niche. So when going to choose your digital product, when choosing what pathway you want to go down, the first thing I want you guys to choose is your niche. Now, obviously, this is recorded and I'll be putting it on YouTube, but even if you want to write this stuff down, step number one would be to choose your niche out of health, wealth, or relationships would be the best ones I can recommend. Now, if you've got passion in, other ones outside of that, then go for it. But these were, from my experience, from what I've seen in the past year, these will be the three that you're going to make the most money from and where you're going to have the biggest impact on people's lives in. Now, preferably with this, you want to choose something that you struggled with previously and you've been able to overcome, or something that you are in the midst of overcoming, or even something you're struggling with and sort of want to go on a journey to overcome that. And then from there, start helping other people, or something that you're passionate about and something that you have confidence in. Now, obviously, you can go out there, like, for me, for example, I could go out there and sell digital products in the relationship niche. And, maybe because I've learned the skill of sales and marketing, I could be successful in that. But you want to find something that you're passionate in. So it's something that doesn't feel like work. You're just doing it every day because you love it, because you're helping people with something that you're passionate about and something that you've been able to do yourself. So in regards to where to start, first thing you need to do is pick your niche. They're the three niches I would recommend, and try to choose one that you're sort of passionate about, something you've sort of had, and preferably something you've like overcame yourself, or something you're sort of going through yourself. Now, that's the first part, is picking your niche. Now, obviously, the next part is like finding a product. So how do I find a digital product to sell? That's another big one I get. Like, this is obviously the next part to like actually starting. You can pick your niche. All right, say I want to be in the fitness niche. I'm passionate about fitness. I go to the gym. I used to be really skinny. I used to be really overweight. I've lost that weight, and I want to be able to help people do the same because I know the positive effect it had on my life. So the next thing you want to decide is whether or not you want to sell high or low ticket digital products. So with that, obviously we discussed that before. But whether or not you want to sell high ticket digital products, which you're gonna, with high ticket digital products, you're gonna make less sales, but you are gonna make a lot more money. So say you were an appointment setter or something for a fitness offer, you're using your skill of sales to be an appointment setter, selling a digital product. You're going to make a lot more money. You're going to make like $500, $1,000 per sale on that. Whereas if you can go onto Etsy or things like that, and you can buy a low ticket fitness guide, maybe you buy it for $3. You set up a store on Stand Store, and you can then sell it for $10. So you're making $7 in every sale. A lot more people are going to buy it because it's a lot cheaper. But in the long run, you're going to make a lot more money from high ticket. Now, with that, obviously, I guess the difference between them, and something I guess to weigh up for you guys when choosing whether you want to go high ticket or low ticket. And if you choose low ticket, but later on you want to go high ticket, that's fine as well. Now, low ticket is a lot less risk. You don't really need a lot of money to start up. And if money's something that's holding you back, or you're not really willing to get uncomfortable and take a big risk, I definitely recommend starting with low ticket. And if you're like a complete beginner with no experience, definitely recommend starting with low ticket. There's basically no risk. You're going to learn along the way. You're not going to lose a lot. And you can always, if you start making money with low ticket, which I've seen before, you can then step into the high ticket space. Now, with high ticket, obviously, there's lots of different ways you can get into the high ticket space. You can go into things like ClickBank and Digistore24, where you can actually make like $800 a sale in these specific niches. Now, I'm going to get into this stuff like more a few sessions later, but I just want to break down this for you guys step by step. Now, in regards to actually finding your product. Now, there's a few different ways you can go about it. You can either create a product yourself. So you can actually go out there and create a product yourself. Say you've, lost a heap of weight, you've stuck to a certain diet that has worked for you, you've stuck to a certain workout plan for 3 to 6 months. You can actually go out to sites like Creative Market, Canva, or Adobe Express. There's heaps of other ones out there. I just go to ChatGPT and ask best websites to create a free digital product. You actually create one yourself, and then from there you can begin to market it through things on social media and set up a store with Stan Store. Now I have YouTube videos out there, and if you guys want after this, chuck in the group chat if you want like a step by step on how to actually set something like this up. But there's pretty much three ways when finding your product. You can either create one yourself. Now, there's one of the boys who I'm actually mates with who, before getting into the high ticket space, he was working FIFO. He was working in the mines, and he actually had a digital product. I think it was like $25 or $30. How to get into the mines for people living in the UK, I believe, because he's from the UK, and a lot of people in the UK want to work in FIFO. Now, that was the first digital product he sold, something he created himself on Canva, and he sold that for like $25. Made it for completely free on Canva and sold it for $25. Obviously, still solving a problem. It's I'd say that's in the wealth niche, because you can make a lot of money in the mines. In the UK, the cost of living is really bad. So he started in the low ticket wealth niche, so making a bit of money from that, and then stepped into the high ticket product niche, into high ticket products. So that's all the first ways you can create a product, something obviously that you have knowledge in. So whether you've gone through a rough breakup, maybe you're studying psychology at uni, maybe, you've gone through your apprenticeship and you want to help people out, start an apprenticeship, and the best things to sort of focus on. Whatever it is you have above average knowledge in, you can create a product. Now, the other two ways are you can actually buy the rights that says down, to a done for you PLR product. So what PLR stands for is private label rights, basically meaning that other people actually create these products. So say my mate who created that FIFO guide, he can actually put PLR on that. So he can actually go create that and then sell that product for other people to buy. And once you buy that, so say I went and I wanted to help people get into FIFO and he had PLR rights on it, I could go and buy his guide and now own that as completely my own, because I bought the rights to it. Now, that's probably a lot easier of a way, because these products are already done for you. You don't have to create it yourself. You don't have to be the most tech savvy. You can literally just buy the rights to a product. Obviously, look into a bit, see if it's something you're passionate about, or even you could create a bit yourself and then buy the rights to another one and sort of mix and match them. But now basically, you can buy the rights to a product for like $5 on websites like Etsy, PLR.me, Gumroad. I think there's another one called Gumroad. You can buy the rights to these for like $5. Say it's a fitness guide or like a diet or how to lose weight. Buy it for like $5. You now own that as your own, and you can now sell that for like $20 if you can market correctly and help those people out. So there's $15 per sale, and all you have to do is buy it once. And now, as we mentioned earlier, with that product, you've now bought it once, but you have an infinite amount of them, rather than having to buy heaps of stock, heaps of shipping, and things like that. Now, the final way, and this is probably it's different for everyone, but the final way is to actually become affiliated. So partner up with someone else who is selling a digital product or service, and either help with the business's sales or marketing. So when we were talking last week about high income skills and things like that, the two that I recommend is sales and marketing. Now, obviously, later on down the line, if you learn sales and marketing, you're going to be able to start up your own business in anything at all. So that's one thing. But you could also partner up with businesses who are in need of salespeople or who are in need of people who are marketing. So as we mentioned last week, for you guys who were there last week, obviously, you can become affiliated with someone who's selling a digital product. So usually this is in the high ticket niche if you're going to be doing the sales side of things, because as we mentioned last week, if the product's over, two, three, $4,000, it has to be sold over a phone call. It's not sold on websites and stuff like that. So that's sort of the final way is to become a setter, become a closer, or even start affiliate or digital marketing. And that way you don't have to actually worry about, the business side of things. You can just focus on the skill itself and getting good that way. So there's sort of the three ways. You can either create one, you can buy the rights to one, or you can partner up with a business and help with either their sales or their marketing. Now, that sort of leads into my next point. I know we spoke about this last week, but I do just want to reiterate to become successful, how crucial it is to learn high income skills and how important it is to learn sales and marketing. Now, as I mentioned just before, with all this to actually become successful in any business, whether it's physical, digital, high ticket, low ticket, whatever it may be, if you don't have the skills required to be successful, whether it's with marketing or selling your products, it's going to be really hard. So say, you're really passionate about fitness, you've lost a heap of weight and you want to help other people do the same, but you don't know how to actually market that. You don't know how to get people to your store. You don't know how to get people to your page. You don't know how to get views. You're not going to be able to help the people out who you're trying to help. So that's obviously the first thing. Now, the second thing is actually, making the sale. So say, you're really good at marketing already. You've just got the knack for marketing. Maybe you've got a previous experience in marketing. But if you don't know how to actually make those sales, you don't know how to talk to people in the DMs and try and help them out and things like that, it's also going to be very hard. So, you can have a great passion, you can have great knowledge, you can have the best product in the world if you create one yourself. But if you don't have those skills behind you, it is going to be really hard. So I did just want to reiterate that. And this honestly is just coming from personal experience. This is why I failed for so long. I tried a bunch of different things. And I didn't realize it was just simply by having, like, if I just took the time to learn the skills, that's really all I needed. Because like now from here, I know I mentioned physical products aren't the best anymore, but if you learn sales, you learn marketing, you could start up a successful dropshipping business. You could start up a successful carpentry business. So, the biggest mistake I made was not mistake, but biggest lesson I had to learn was, for all these business models, for all this stuff you see online, for all this stuff you see in the real world, if you try and make $1 million overnight, just trying to sell digital products because it's the latest trending thing, it's not going to happen. If you take the time to, 1 to 2 months to learn those skills properly of sales, of marketing, that's how you make it like a long-term thing. So with that, obviously, as I said, you can have the best offer in the world out there, but if you don't have that actually have the skills to help these people out, it is going to be really hard. So the plan is over the next few weeks is to sort of actually help you guys out with that. How do you market these products? How do you actually, post content? I know a lot of people here won't want to post what I do, but I'll show you how to post faces content, how to target people, how to get your marketing skills up, and then from there it's about sales. So how do you do appointment setting? If you're going to be jumping on calls with people, how do you do that? So that's sort of the plan from here. But I just want to break down today's lesson was really just going to be on digital products. And then from there, we're going to go into, I guess, the actual skills themselves. So for today's lesson, I want you guys to figure out a niche. I want you guys to figure out whether you want to go low ticket or high ticket and just start looking around whether you want to create your own, start brainstorming, start giving different things a crack. And, from there, we'll really start to, work week by week on actually improving your skills. So with that, I did just want to show a few wins from the community and a lot of questions and sort of answer a lot of you guys' questions or like the most common questions I get. So with that, obviously, I spoke about sales, I spoke about marketing. A big thing for selling digital products is the marketing side of things. Like you need eyeballs on your stuff, you need eyeballs on your products, you need eyeballs on your store. So do you need a big following is one of the biggest questions I get. Now, obviously with that, I've over the last 12 months, I've been able to grow my account from 0 to 30 something thousand followers. And a lot of people think, it's impossible to make money if you don't have a big following. But I was there this time last year. I think this time last year I only had 100 followers, but I just want to show you, I guess, what is possible when you learn the right skills. So obviously it's great and all to have a bunch of followers and it's cool, and people recognize you in the street, but it really doesn't matter. And it's once again emphasizing the importance of learning the skills right. So this is my boy Bodie. He made $7,500 in 7 days because he learned the skill properly, because he learned how to market and then he learned how to convert that with sales. So he took the time to learn the skills. He doesn't even have 1,000 followers, and he's able to make $7,500 a week in a week. Now, if you put that into a month, that's $30,000 in 1 month without even 1,000 followers. Now, a lot of you guys, probably have over 1,000 followers just on your normal account. So the opportunities are endless. You don't need to be, a famous guru on the internet or anything like that. You can do this completely faceless. So that's a big one I get. Do I need a big following and do I need to post my face? No, you don't. Now, this is sort of leads into my next point, which is, do I have to post content? Now, I want to show a video from my boy Jamie. Now, as we mentioned earlier, with Jamie, or with this, Jamie never wanted to post content, and he sort of that last option. I know we said we could create digital products, we could buy the rights to them, or we could become affiliated with businesses and help with their sales or their marketing. Now, Jamie never wanted to post content. He took the time to learn sales. I just want to show you guys this testimony of Jamie, who landed a six-figure base salary, which basically means he's guaranteed he gets paid like a wage of over $100,000 a year, plus commissions on top of that. So if he closes a deal, it's a $10,000 offer. It's $1,000 for every deal he closes. So I'm going to show you this of a great example of someone who has taken the time to learn the skill of sales, affiliated with a business who needed a hand in the sales department, and he's now making upwards of six figures a year without having to post content. No one even needs to know that you're doing this.
Hey guys, most of you probably have no clue who I am. My name's Jamie. I joined up with ABC a little over a year ago. And like a lot of people in the community, it completely changed my life. What Trev and Trey managed to teach me and the knowledge they managed to impart really gave me the skills and the tools that I needed to be able to pursue a career in sales. Unlike a lot of people, I never really went down the content creation path. It was something I never really saw myself consistently doing. I was a lot more intrigued in the sales side of things rather than the marketing. Obviously, content can be very lucrative. You see a lot of the top people in the community crushing it with the content, but I feel like there's this consistent expectation from community members to be handed role or, to not put in effort and be rewarded for it. It's an analogy that, you said that you don't sign up to a gym and walk up to the gym manager and say, give me muscles and you go work for it. So I think what a lot of you guys fail to realize is that if you don't want to do marketing, don't go viral within a week or something, don't give up on sales. Don't give up on the whole process. Don't give up on content and marketing. As cliche as that line is, because when I pursued a few opportunities outside of ABC, obviously I was knocked back from a couple and took learning experiences from everything. But it was that resilience and that persistence that Trev and Trey instilled within me that led me to my current offer, which is a six-figure base salary, as well as uncapped comms, everything else that comes with that. So there are so many offers out there and there's so much work to be had. And you guys are given such a head start over everyone else by being a part of this group. And you've already made the biggest decision by taking the leap into this industry. So fucking go for it. Don't be hindered by a few setbacks. So if you don't pop up on social media, or if you don't close that deal, as all the top earners within this community will tell you, it's persistence that gets you to where you want to be, and that sense of financial and time freedom. And if you're just sitting there waiting for something to fall into your lap, nothing's going to happen. So take the initiative, use what you've been taught, and put it into play. Because I don't know where I'd be without AQT right now, but it's a place that certainly wouldn't have been possible without the tutelage and the mentorship of these absolute weapons that take so much of their time to give to you guys. So yeah, that's about all for me. Probably fed up of hearing my voice, but just go for it. Take it.
We'll stop it there. But, just once again, like reiterating, especially off the back of last week's session too, the opportunity that is out there for you guys. Jamie was working, I believe, pickpacking for Coles, this time last year. He's now earned like $100,000 plus a year, plus commissions. So he's gonna be earning upwards of $200,000-$300,000 a year. But I guess most importantly, for a lot of you guys, without having to show his face all over the internet, because I know even for me, I know last week when we sort of did a backstory on my journey, I never did really want to post content. So there's so much opportunity out there. There's as Jamie said, there's so many different offers out there. And once again, with the space going to be 5xing, there's going to be that supply and that demand. All you have to do is create a supply to the demand. Learn the skill of sales. You can then become a sales rep for a business who is selling a digital product. They'll pay you based on, like, sometimes they pay you base salary plus commissions on top of that. So that's an example from Jamie. Now, finally, so I want to run through the power of being able to combine both skills. So obviously Jamie hasn't got into the marketing side of things. He's making, 100, 200, $300,000 a year now. But to really take it to that next level where you're making, $20,000 in a week, which is $80,000 a month, $85,000 a month over 12 months is $1 million a year. So to take it to that next level where it's ridiculous, it really is combining both of these skills of sales and marketing with then digital products with where the space is going. So a great example here as well is, this is Marcel here. Now, he spent the first 6 to 8 months strictly on sales, learning the sales side of things, actually scaled to $12,000 a month, which is $144,000 a year as a closer. So he didn't want to post content, didn't do any of that, just learned closing, learned the skill of sales first and started replacing his income, was able to leave his job in construction. And then from there, later on, he started to build his own personal brand, then being able to combine both skills. He instantly went from 10K to 30K. So he learned the skill of marketing on top of sales, and now he's at around $20,000 a week, which I know sounds absolutely ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous to me as well, but that is the power. So, a lot of you ask, do I need a big following? Bodhi's the perfect example of that. Learn marketing properly. You don't need a big following. It's the skill set that matters. Do I have to post content? No. You can learn sales, but what if you learn both? Well, this is the possibility that is out there. So I just did want to show those wins from the community. And yeah, that's basically like digital products in a whole. And then obviously on the back end of that, on the back end of this session, running through why actually learning the skills to sell these digital products will be so lucrative, will be so important, and will make you guys a lot of money if you take the time to learn the skills first. Now, that's pretty much it from me. I will stop sharing. But yeah, have we got any questions or anything like that? I will give me a sec. I will allow the chat. So just say, yep, I've got a question, and then I can unmute you and we can go from there. Any questions at all before we wrap things up? Now, you don't actually have to ask your question in the chat. Just, let me know if you've got one. But yeah, obviously that group chat that I've created as well, any feedback, what you guys want to see next, basically the plan over the next few weeks will be to run you through the sales side of things, run you through marketing. So then you guys are starting to develop both skill sets. So then you can go on to start, selling digital products successfully in whichever pathway you want to go down. So is there any questions at all? Any feedback or anything like that before we wrap things up? Anything that's lacking? Any feedback? Anything like that? You guys can put questions in the chat, can't you? Or have I stuffed it? Should be able to. No questions. Should I go through ABC? The questions are working. Look, bro, like honestly, it's hard for me to like comment on that. I can't like because I tried everything. So it'd be wrong of me to say no because the only reason I'm in the position I'm in now was because of the mentors of ABC, because of the guidance that I got, and because of like taking the time to actually learn the skills from people who had made a lot of money with them. So for me, it's hard to say, no, you can go without them. You can learn through YouTube. You can, go about it on your own because that was like the biggest mistake I made. So my experience in ABC has been great. I was able to leave my job 4.5 months in, whereas the 12 months without ABC, where I was looking into this, I didn't really get anywhere. So, yeah, I can only speak of personal experience and the results I see out of there as well. But yeah. What exactly do I learn it? Yeah, exactly, bro. So you're learning the skills of sales and marketing. And basically you go through a step-by-step process where you learn appointment setting first. So you go through video modules. You then get certified as an appointment setter once you've gone through all the modules, gone through all the calls, and started role playing. So you start doing practice role plays, you then get certified, so you can go and land a role. And then the next step from there is closing. And then later on down the track, you can build your own personal brand. But you're basically learning the skills of sales first off, most important skill, and then from there you can branch off into marketing. No more questions, nothing like that. We will leave you to it. Now, next week, does ABC get me a job straight away? Now, with that, bro, that's nothing is handed to you at all, bro. If you put the work in, there's opportunity. Like there's obviously ABC has connections and people that they can try and help you get in contact with. But if you're not prepared to do the work, bro, it won't just be handed to you. In regards to how do I where can I look for ABC? I'd message me after this. Now, like this isn't just like an academy, a community everyone gets access to, even for the people who are watching this on YouTube. If you guys do want the opportunity, ABC also. If you guys do want the opportunity to potentially get on a call with someone from ABC to see if you're the right fit, just DM me after this, the word skills. But yeah, that's something we can sort of discuss. But yeah, we'll begin to wrap it up there. But yeah, I'd appreciate if you guys chuck this on your story. If you do have any questions, obviously chuck them in the group chat. And if you are interested, if you do want to talk to me more about ABC, and getting a mentor and things like that, we can talk about that. But yeah, we'll begin to wrap it up there. I'd appreciate it if you guys chuck something on your story. Um, but yeah, we'll touch base. Obviously we've got that group chat now. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys. All good, all good. But yeah, we'll obviously look to improve every week. Any feedback or anything like that as well, let me know because I'm all for feedback. If I'm going too fast, if you guys aren't understanding, let me know so I can slow it down for all of you because sometimes I go a bit too fast, or yeah, I just want to make sure you guys are having the best experience possible. But we'll leave you to it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All good. Have a good rest of your night and have a good weekend, and we'll speak next week. Cheers, guys.